Everyone, welcome to this week's Q&Andy. I'm excited for this week's show, and this is kind of like what the Q&A is about when we bring in people from the tennis universe, like the performance coach, the mental, the physical, for one, current world number one, Aryna Sabalenka. Jason, welcome to Served. How you doing?
Good morning, man. I'm great. I'm just feeling good, fresh after a big summer for us, and now we're just training, getting ready for the European clay court season. Just chilling, enjoying it.
So you win in Miami, and then you have a little bit. Everyone says break, but there are really no breaks, right? Because time doesn't stop for excellence. So what is kind of after you win in Miami? I'm assuming there's a couple days of laying low. What are you doing right now, and how does the kind of lead up to clay work after a win?
Yeah, I mean, look, the process is the process. Like win or lose, obviously we always go through and what we've just done. We look at what was working well, maybe what some things that needed some work, and then what's our plan moving forward for the next, short term, like these next few weeks, and then longer term, like are we on the right path still? So it's the same flow no matter what, win, lose, whatever the situation is. And like I said, we had 2 days off, maybe 3 days off, I think she had, which wasn't really days off because she's like, obligations and photo shoots and interviews and all that. And now we're training. So we're back at it on the court a couple of times a day, in the gym, once or twice a day, just grinding away. There were some new things that we're adding to her game.
Oh, good. We were worried about her.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that you guys are
full of. We were worried she wasn't going to win every time she stepped on the court.
Jason. Yeah, well, that's how it is. So, well, to be honest, like a big focus for us right now is just the managing our energy a lot more, especially going into the European season. Because last year was an important lesson that we're realizing. A couple years ago, yeah, she was very consistent, getting deeper into the tournaments over the last few years, maybe off and on a bit longer now. And then last year was pretty much just if she's in a tournament, she's going to be in the final or very, very close to that, if not winning it. And so it's a lot of matches, and going into the clay court season last year, we had, she had, the Brisbane, the Australian Open, we had Indian Wells final, Miami winning, and then just a short time, boom, she's in Stuttgart. And then she went to like finals, quarters, and then to the final of French Open. So by the time she got to the French Open, I mean, she was so exhausted because she had played so many matches. And, by the time she got to the final, she was so depleted, just her energy and her ability to control her emotions and stay focused. She was just, she just like ran right through her. So it was a good lesson for all of us to realize like, okay, we should just accept the fact and expect that if we show up somewhere, we're going to get to the final, and start to understand that we need to manage that as far as schedule goes, as far as all the things we do outside of the court, how she's managing all her obligations, like with sponsors and whatnot. And so that's been a big focus the last year and a half, but especially this year now coming into the, French Open, because we've the last 3 years in French Open, she showed up sick, like unwell. So it's like, okay, we gotta add or tweak some things there. So that's kind of our focus from my perspective right now.
Hey, Techie Sean, you had a cold like 3 months ago, and you didn't come to work for like 2.5 weeks. I just made that up, but she made a French Open final not feeling well. So that's, I don't know, probably same, right?
It's about the same.
Yeah. It's interesting you went down that path, and with kind of making adjustments based on recent history. And it's weird because I always hear it, and then when someone says it out loud, like, hey, we have to space it out, we have to make sure that we have energy, we have to make sure that we're mentally and physically ready, everyone sits around and goes, yeah, no, that makes sense. That's totally great. That's totally great. And then when the actuality of taking, action for those things, like missing a tournament in Dubai, and then everyone's like, well, no, we don't like that. So it's weird that we all agree with it in premise, but then when it actually comes to fruition, people get a little salty about it. That's something you just shrug your shoulders and say, whatever. I mean, Novak pulls out of a tournament, everyone gets mad. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, he's managing his schedule like he should be. I mean, do you guys get frustrated with that, or is it just kind of something that comes along with the job?
No, you expect it. It's going to happen. You're not doing it to harm anyone or to, make people upset. It's just like, that's the reality. Like you said, if people want Aryna Sabalenka and the excitement and the results and the story and the, personality, well, that's what we have to do. So it's just the reality of it.
So performance coach, I want you to break down for our listeners, because Mike read kind of an explanation of what it would be. And you cover a lot of ground, right? There's the physical part. There's, tip of the cap to the mental angle. Simply, what is your job if you would describe it, week to week, day to day, month to month?
I suppose there's two big parts. One is, I'm looking after sort of the mental and physical side of her ability to perform her best, whatever that might mean in the time. So it could be, what we're doing, how we're training physically. It could be how she's managing her energy, or maybe some, personal thing, or, mental thing that's going on, emotional thing. It's just looking at her as a whole person on and off the court, making sure that physically she's capable and she has all the tools necessary. I have to make sure physically she's able to show up on court for practice and Anton show up in a way that she can do anything that Anton needs her to do without any sort of modification or adjustment. So it's making sure physically, no matter what, she shows up and she can do whatever's asked of her. And that's the goal, right? Physically side. Mentally is very similar, just managing, her environment, managing how to manage her emotions and all the energy and from, the internal, external stuff. Part of that has to do with a lot of ways, a big part of my job is making sure that we have the right people doing the right things at the right time. Right. So a simple word for it is I'm the babysitter, basically. That's what they kind of refer to me as. I'm like the babysitter, so so a lot of that is day to day is, like I said, yeah, obviously the fitness side, within that, learning how to use her body to keep training her mind, because that's a lot easier, more reliable method to make sure mentally you're ready to perform your best, is use your body to train your mind. It's Anton and I speaking on a, daily or several times a day about what's going on, how we're feeling, what we're seeing, if there's any sort of, even sometimes like a gut feeling about something, how she's moving or what's going on, scheduling, everything. So we just constantly just going back and forth, making sure that we're all on the same page and that, neither of us are missing something. And then again, like just bringing the right kind of people in at the right time, to make sure that we're ticking those boxes.
I have one more thing. I've talked about this with Aryna not with Aryna, but about Aryna on our show before. And it was strange. When we were growing up, it was kind of mental toughness. They all wanted it to kind of look the same, right? It was like, keep your head down, take deep breaths. We don't show anything. And the more I kind of watch tennis greatness and kind of look backwards, it's like we have so many different types of players. We have the Petes and the Rogers who are calmer, and then we have some psychos like McEnroe, and it's not kind of one size fits all. You just talked about all those things with emotions and all this stuff. We don't really have to wonder what Aryna's thinking very often. Talk about managing kind of the emotions of such a big personality, but also like she's got to be who she is. Right? It feels like I'm telling you your business, but it feels like you can't dampen that personality and how big it is. What are the trade-offs with, listen, we need to do these things to maybe be a little bit calmer, but also, listen, she's got to go. She's got to shine. She takes up a lot of air in the room.
That's a great way of putting it. No, look, man, you've been there, done that, and now you can look back on it and look at it from different lenses, but absolutely right. That's something that always bothered me over the years, is that there's always this like control your emotions and you have to be stoic or you have to do this or that. And that is true in very specific situations and with specific people in specific, in certain situations in the context of things. Right. So I'm not saying that's not a real thing. There's a time and place for it. And like you said, for the individual. So, that is, I mean, I don't even know how else to explain it really, is the fact that yes, you have to meet the person where they're at. You have to understand who they are. It's not about controlling your emotions. It's about mastering them. Right? It's about understanding who you are and what makes you who you are. And sometimes you need a little bit of reminder about that, right? And so it's just creating an environment for yourself that allows you to be who you are, right? Have that freedom to make mistakes, have that freedom to explore, have that freedom to, fail, to win, to be who you are. But again, it's having that awareness of like all those emotions and those ways. Are they helping me? Or are they hurting me? Is it a liability or an asset? And that's kind of what we did over the last several years with Aryna from day one, is just start stripping away. Well, what are the patterns or the reactions that you're having that are definitely not a lot, they're a liability to you. They're actually costing you, energy and matches and whatnot, versus the things that are assets. Like what is it about you that makes you, that gives you that fire, that competitiveness, that ability to, like, when you're down a set and it's now 5-love and you come back and you win, which we did several times, you know what I mean? Well, who is that? Let's find out who that person is, and let's figure out how we can create this environment for you first to trust yourself, right? And then to start to build that environment around you that everything and everyone around you is feeding that, right? So we're not like trying to force anything in a specific way, because that doesn't make any sense. You have to meet people where they're at. So, I mean, I can tell you quickly about this, like a quote from one of my old coaches when I was younger. And I've just recently, over the last so many years, kind of come back to that. But I renamed it, I call it the loyalty loop, right? So I'll give you, it's a real quick quote. So it's, through loyalty, you gain trust, right? Trust creates freedom. And to maintain that freedom, remain loyal. And there's several layers to this, right? So loyalty, some people when they first think of it, think, oh, loyalty to some other thing, some external thing. But the first step to that to me is self-loyalty, right? So being loyal to yourself, meaning if you show up and you do the things that you say you're going to do, like you have a decision, like you said, you make a decision to do something, but if there's no action connected to it, then you're literally teaching yourself of who you are. Like you're not the person who follows through. You're not the person who's, it's those little lies that you tell to yourself. And when pressure hits, when you start to get stressed out in those key moments, those little like moments where you made a decision but you didn't take action on it and they weren't aligned with who you are, that's when you're going to fall apart, right? It's not like everyone's fast and strong and has great technique and blah blah blah. It's those things where if you really believe and have that self-belief, right? So self-loyalty is more like it's the precursor to self-belief, right? And that gains trust in yourself, which allows you to have that freedom to go out there and take risks, to go out there to be open to learn new things, to be out to, to just be more creative, right? So that loyalty is where it starts. And that's the first step is just with yourself. Obviously, then there's other, like how you show up every day consistently, being who you say you are. That's the key right there. And so with Aryna, to go back to your question was just, or your question statement was, over the years, just creating that environment where the people around her, not only is she becoming more aware of herself, but the second stage is making sure we create the environment where, well, that is what is being fed. That is what is expected of every one of us to show up as who we are every day. And if we make a decision about something, we take an action that supports that. And if we don't, then it gets pointed out. So that way we're very, very much like that.
You should write a book, man. You should.
Funny you say that.
You should call it Pressure Code. It should be available for pre-order now and out on September 8th.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Just maybe do a website called thepressurecode.com.
Yeah, maybe do that too.
And you can sign up there for pre-orders.
Tell you what, we're going to take some questions from fans and fans of Aryna's, fans of yours that have written in and have some questions kind of about that relationship, about process. And just while you're answering those questions, just think more about the book thing, and we'll circle back to see if it has become real by the time this interview is over. Does that work? All right, producer Mike, hit us with the questions from Serve listeners.
Yeah, we kind of tracking where you guys were going with this line of questioning. Aaron sent us a question on Instagram that said, functional fitness, breathing, and emotional control. How did you get Aryna on board with that? And I think it's about the process of, like you said, over several years. I mean, it's not like you did this overnight, right? Talk us through that.
Absolutely. I mean, when I first showed up in Belarus, 7-8 years ago, it was her father, and Dimitri were there. Actually, that's how I connected with her. And you could tell right away. It was like, who's this short little American guy? Like, what is this? Her dad is like this giant ice hockey, Eastern Bloc, ex-athlete, just like this house of a man. And everyone's like, who's a weird little American guy? But anyway, so look, to go back to the question, it was definitely, initially it was a lot of trial and error. It was more just, again, building that trust. So showing up as who I say I am and following through with that. So building that trust over time. Having to go at trying different things. And so with Aryna, with everything really, even to this day, we don't really do like, okay, we're doing this new thing or this thing and this is big and there's this big problem we have to do, blah, 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 blah. It's always just little steps, little layers. So I saw where she was at. I saw that there was some emotional control things that we had to work on. There was some physical things that, she had some potential, but there was a lot of disconnect there, not a lot of awareness of her body. And there was some technical things, which we only just recently were able to address really. But of those 3 things, there was 2 that I had a lot of control over that I can help. And so it was really just experimenting, kind of figuring out how her body was adapting, how she felt on court, because obviously that makes a difference. It's not about what I think is the right thing. It's like, how can I help you feel the way you need to feel to go compete your best, to have that freedom and that recovery and that movement. And again, making sure that it was matching with whatever, like in this case, Anton, what he needs from her, from a tactical and strategical, strategical, is that a word? Anyway, so it just took a lot of time. It was just introducing little bits at a time, and it was more like layering. So like whatever she was doing already, I'd add a little bit to it, right? And then I'd add another layer to it. So if there was an exercise that she liked, great, we'd do it. And then I might change the base of support. I might change the way I'm having her breathe through it. So I'm just slowly introducing things. So it becomes 2 reasons. One, to gain that trust so she feels it. But a lot of it is, I don't want her to think so much about it. I just want it to be a natural thing that comes from her. So I give her a little bit of a layer, whether it's physical, mental, whatever. It's so subtle most of the time that she just starts doing it automatically without thinking about it. Because I don't need her to think about anything. I want her just to do the thing. So yeah, that's been a process.
That's cool. And I think walking through kind of all those layers that you talked about, and I think you touched on it earlier about being a babysitter. Samantha, a listener, wrote in that Aryna has a huge team. What are the communication dynamics so that everyone can be on the same page without stressing out the athlete?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's just the mostly the threat of physical harm if you don't know.
Oh, I love physical harm jokes.
So there we go, baby. When in doubt, choke him out. That's my saying. When in doubt, choke him out.
MMA background.
This has been a great interview. Thank you. No, just joking.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said before, because that's how it was from the start and it has been so many years, that it's really Aryna, Anton, and myself are the key sort of the tightest circle where we're communicating. And it's gotten to a point really over the last several years that like Aryna can say something to me and knows that Anton will know. She can say something to Anton and knows that he'll know, I know. And then Anton and I will know that she'll know. Like, so we all know that we don't have to kind of repeat ourselves. We can, because a lot of times those conversations, like the key moments sometimes will happen. It's not a scheduled thing. It might be during a workout, a treatment. It could be on court, like randomly driving back from whatever. And so, it's good to know that like if there's something that's shared, then we all understand what's happening. So we don't have to kind of try to figure things out all the time. So there's that. And then everyone on the team understands that, okay, you filter those kind of anything to go to Aryna first goes through us, based on what it is or the timing. And so that's really, and it's not like in a weird, like formal, structured, like, serious way. It's just everyone understands that, hey, this is how it works best. Nothing goes to Aryna unless we all have the understanding and there's a clarity about what we're going to do and how we're going to introduce it. And then we can discuss it with her. And then often what will happen is usually Anton and I will discuss sort of, well, who's going to bring that up and when, or how we're going to introduce this. It's going to be together, it's going to be separate, it's going to be, maybe a different person. Like even in like simple example, even in our warm-ups for matches, for example, is that I often will get everyone on the team in different points involved to do different parts of the warm-up, just so that everyone's sort of, part of the team and part of the process. So yeah, that's the circle there. It's like Anton and myself are talking on a regular basis. I'm speaking with Aryna, he's speaking with Aryna, we're speaking with each other, at key moments, especially after certain tournaments. We'll get together and just have like a, breakfast or dinner that night or the next day and just kind of go over, see what comes out. Again, nothing planned. And some of those conversations we've had were very, very deep and intense. Others are just very kind of, okay. So again, we just see where we're at and keep going. So yeah.
How long did it take you, and maybe this isn't a finished product because I don't know that sports ever is, but one of the things that I learned kind of after I stopped and I just talked to great coaches or people that are really good at their job is I can look at a match and I can see what someone should do. I could see a technical deficiency. What I think I would suck at as a coach is because I would want to get the information out if I saw it, is the greatest coaches are very aware of when their player is ready to receive the information, right? How long, when does that seem to be the case with Aryna, and how long did it kind of take you to get that cadence, or is it just kind of a constant work in progress?
All the above, I'd say. I mean, it's always a work in progress, as you said. There's never really like an end point, like, okay, this is the thing. Because, things change and situations vary, how you're responding to it, all that. So I think it's just being really aware of, again, everyone on the team being, more aware of themselves, like how they show up. It's, again, keep helping Aryna become more self-aware as well. And just a constant reminder, like we have those systems in place where we don't bring up things, introduce things, unless we, even if we really want to. It's having that trust and that patience in that process, without sounding too cheesy, that even if I have something and it's like, wow, this is like, I really got to get this out.
Fuck, it's so hard not to say it, isn't it?
I know it is. You're like right there, but that if, the thing is, if you understand that if I do it too soon or the wrong timing, the value of that gets lost, right? And so you missed an opportunity. And it's really hard, but it takes a lot of experience, I think. I mean, I've been doing this for decades now, but like, it takes a lot of time and experience and really patience. But that goes back to what I said about if you really teach that self-belief, that loyalty to the team and to yourself, and you build that trust, then I know it's like, okay, and I know Anton's the same thing. Like he can have those moments where he knows he needs to get out, but he's got that control of himself, knowing that, okay, as soon as I'm done talking with her, I got to go talk to Jason, or I got to go talk to so-and-so. And we'll kind of bang it out, sort of back and forth to kind of filter out what we need or don't need and how and when and who. Because sometimes, like I said, it's even who we have deliver the messages or who we're going to have spend time with her, or who's going to go to this event. it's very, purposeful in that kind of sense. So it does take a lot of patience.
So kind of still staying in that vein, I think that's a good transition to a question from Orlin. He asked, what is Sabalenka's daily routine, both during and not during a tournament? And I think to expand on it also, like what is cemented and what is not, what's fluid and what's not.
I mean, there's a number of things, obviously, as you guys know, it depends on the tournament and the schedule and the timing and all that. So it can vary, but obviously, she's very consistent with her meal, what she eats. She doesn't really vary too much about what she's eating. It depends on where we are, what that is. Like if it's at a tournament, if it's at home, but she has pretty consistent meals with her supplementation. She's very consistent with that, with what I'm giving her. That might vary a little bit throughout the year based on, so how she's doing and what we're working on. Her sleep schedule, she's very religious about. She's very, very, nowadays especially, she's really good at making sure she sleeps well. As far as movement goes, we do something every day, right? But to give you an example, sometimes movement, I'm like, hey, just go shopping, go walk around for a couple hours and just shop and go do whatever. Like go to the beach and go for a walk. It doesn't have to be like exercise or, a program or something. It's just move your body every day, doing something. What else is a routine? I mean, if it's during tournaments, then yeah, we'd get up, I'll have breakfast. We go to the gym, we warm up, which could vary based on what we're working on, what we're seeing. Go to practice, go back to the gym, do a bit of fitness, go eat, go back to practice. So it's just the same sort of cycle of just eat, sleep, workout, train, practice, chat. On match days, the night before a match, Anton will sit with her for anywhere between 5 minutes to a half hour discussing the next day's match. But real briefly, we don't go into too much detail with that. We don't really want her to. I mean, this is not a disrespectful statement, just to be clear. Like this is just the way it has to be. I think is that we don't really let her humanize the opponent. So it's like this is the opponent. Here's the plan for the day. This is your strength. This is how you can apply your strength to her weakness, and that's it. And then when the match is over, you shake hands and you realize who's in front of you. Before that, it's just an opponent.
Yeah, and just to pitch in on that question, like during tournament routine, if you're playing at 10 p.m. on Ash versus 11 a.m. in Mason, Ohio, it's just very different. Like you're adjusting to the schedule that's being dictated to you by the tournaments, as opposed to I can only assume, and Jason, just punch in if I'm wrong, but like when you're home, like what they're doing now with training blocks, it is a little bit easier to be routine based and scheduled than at actual tournaments. What else we got, Mike?
Next up, we got a video question from Katie.
Hey Andy, hey Jason. Oh my God, I'm so excited for this episode. Okay, my question, guys. My question is that when your body is tired, but your goal is bigger than your comfort. So what is the mental switch that elite athletes use to keep going?
So just a little question, small one.
Yeah, it sounded simple, but I feel how do you fix everything?
How much time do we have?
What is the universe?
Jason, how do you fix everything when you're tired? You're going to have the bestseller. Go.
Just one quick little thing. Well, I would just start with a statement that, people who get stuff done, I think there's a problem in the world these days where everyone is waiting to feel good to do something versus doing something to feel good, right? So it's about action. It's about just starting whatever it is. I don't care how you feel. We'll all get tired. We're all this. If it's something that you've made a decision about and a commitment to, remember what I said about that loyalty to yourself, then you take an action behind it. Even if it's the smallest little freaking action, that's usually all you need. Have you ever had to go do something where you're like, oh, I can't be bothered, I don't want to go. But when you show up, you're like so happy you went there, right? It just takes that step. In fact, just the other day, I was talking to a friend about he wants to start reading more and he's struggling. And now it's working really well. But I tricked him and I gave him this. I said, listen, we found out what's the least amount of action he could take toward that. And I was even got down to like, just read 1 page a day, right? Just read 1 page. But we got it to like, he's going to read just a paragraph a day. He goes, oh, I for sure can do that. And almost 8 times out of 10, he'll read like 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 pages, right? Because he started. Because, the end of that paragraph, it's like, you kind of want to know what happened next. And you kind of get into a little bit of momentum. So the only way things get done is by doing something, not waiting to feel better. So I think that would be one of the biggest things is just learning how to, like, even if you're tired, it's like, okay, do what you can right now. Knowing that it's not going to be always perfect. You're not always going to get the best out of yourself or the most that you want, but just starting something, right? Just to at least give yourself, your brain like that information of like, like I know I felt this and I had all these reasons why I can't or couldn't, but I still did something, right? So you're still building that resiliency and that mindset of like, okay, I know I can do this. I know it's not as bad as I feel right now. I know that I'm the person who shows up no matter how I feel. I don't need to feel perfect to do it. So it's all these kind of things. So I think it's just that, and then obviously, having that right environment, the right people around you to help support that, not to encourage like, yeah, you're tired. Just take a day off and have these donuts and, whatever, go watch Netflix for the next 12 hours or scroll on your phone or whatever. So, getting those, yeah, I see the look over there.
You said donuts and I looked at Mike.
I don't really like donuts.
Yeah.
I fucking love donuts.
He doesn't like them. He loves them. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
just Mike, just eat like, so the takeaway is just eat like, even if it's just one little green pea a day, just
I eat pretty healthy.
Just start with that. And then in no
just the
time,
other stuff I eat after I eat healthy.
By the way, let's not let this little banter get in the way of what he said. No notes on that. Like
that was incredible.
I mean, I've said it before. Like I was good at being sad and working out. Seriously.
Yeah, awesome, man.
Like that that matters.
Beautiful.
Like, that what he's saying, like no notes, like copy, paste, click, send it out. Send it out, Techie Sean. That's the one. Go ahead, producer Mike.
Good. And then this last question, we started a thing last week on the show, and now we're going to continue. We decided it's going to be called the random question of the day. Yep. Sean, play the new intro.
Time for the random question of the day.
You guys have too much time on your hands. Jesus.
I knew you were gonna hate that.
Oh,
I knew you were gonna hate it, and I love it. This one was sent to us as a comment on Instagram from somebody with the handle @Aryna Sabalenka.
Oh, great! Here we go. I'm not scared at all now.
She said, "I have a very special question. Why don't he let his hair grow? So stylish. Please ask him that." Laughing emojis. I think he should consider that. Laughing emojis.
And she keeps trying to make me just let my hair grow out. But it's like, you know what? Bald is beautiful, baby. So, I'm just sexy the way it is,
Are you, I have a question for you. Could you grow it out? Are you just being passive aggressive for us actually balding people? Or are you one of us?
No. I got like this, see all this space there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely very getting thin, and I just, one day I shaved it years ago, and I'm like, it took me some time to get used to, but I was like, whatever. Anton's doing that now too, because he's got the big old circle on the back, so he's been shaving his head.
I have we call it the Ginobili.
He went for it. The what?
The Manu Ginobili is what we call it. You can't hide it in the NBA because you can't wear a hat.
Yeah, that's right. It's true.
I don't know. I don't like.
So, I keep it that way.
What was the handle on that question again?
@Aryna Sabalenka.
I think Aryna. That sounds baldest to me.
Yeah,
she's the baldest.
Yeah.
Like
it's a little.
I have to get a hold of that hotline from WTA, like for abuse or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Just we need to report baldism.
Oh, man.
Is that a reach?
You know what we were wondering about earlier before we let you go? We were wondering about the ideas that didn't come
Oh, yeah, I got this one.
to the court.
Yeah. So, and I think of
This
that
is true
when I think of that nice, shiny dome that you got working there that took a stray from Aryna. Okay, so this is a question I had. So, you famously, a couple years ago, had that big-ass tattoo on your head just randomly at the U.S. Open final. Like, I would have been like, oh, no, I can't shift the energy. I don't want to do anything crazy. Your team seems nuts. And my question is not like, why would you do that? Because I think we've heard that it was a bet and it's all in good fun and that whole thing. But if you're doing that on U.S. Open finals day, what type of shit is left on the cutting room floor with you all?
It's what rating is this podcast?
There's none. It's the internet. No one cares. No one watches. It's fine.
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of different ideas. I'm not sure, from like wigs to like costumes that we'd wear to just signs that we thought about making to hand signals for coaching, which were probably a little inappropriate, but like, okay.
No, that's like my generation. We used to have to, everyone was like a third base coach. We're like, we're not coaching.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's some interesting things, but usually it's just in like good fun joking around. But yeah, the Tiger thing was cool. The second year I did that was more, this last year when we won was more for myself. I did it, but yeah, it was cool.
I like it. Always in good fun. So in all seriousness, we referenced that you should write a book. You have written a book. It is available for pre-order. It is called Pressure Code, pressurecode.com by Jason Stacy.
Or sorry, the pressure code.
The Pressure Code.
The pressure.
Yeah.
It'll be on the bottom of the screen
come on,
and in the
It's
link.
not
in the
one
show
of
description.
many. It is the.
Because it is the pressure code.
That is
exactly.
the.
There you
No
go.
other submissions, please. Talk to us. Why, how, and why now? See that rhyme?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, like I've been doing this for a long time, like I said, and over the years I've had clients and other athletes and just colleagues tell me, you should write a book. You should write a book. Partly because of my own personal story, how I kind of came about, how I look at, life and coaching and just the outcomes I was helping people with, with them on and off their sport or in and out of their sport. And, never really thought much about it, but everything kind of lined up just like a few years ago with some people I met and some people I were helping, and they ended up taking the initiative to say, no, we're going to make you write the book. So I was on a phone with some guy who was like a friend of mine, sort of not really tricked me, but I had this this chat with a literary agent, on a Zoom call. He's huge. He was with Franklin Covey for 30 years. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He was the CMO for them for many years. And anyway, halfway through the conversation, he just stopped. He asked his assistant, he goes, hey, what's my schedule on Monday? He's like, I'm flying to come see you. We're having lunch. I'm like, what? And he just basically sat there and said, you have to write a book. Whether it's with me or not, I don't care, but you're writing a book. And I was like, all right, let's do this. But look, it was something that I've been thinking about quite a bit, but just there's a number of reasons. I mean, some of it was just, I really want people to understand that, I see so many people chasing hacks these days, especially, or they're going through all the different coaches and programs and ideas, and they're frustrated, and they're getting they're just kind of going around in circles all the time, right? They're just sort of repeating. And some of them get somewhere, but some of them don't. Or a lot of people I work with, they get to a certain level and they don't like who they become, or they're very burnt out, or they're miserable, or they don't know where to go next, or they don't know how they got there. And so I just realized that, to me, all these things that people are chasing, to me, these are like the analogy I like to give is that, to me, these are like apps on your phone, right? And these 3 E's, what the book is about, which is managing your energy, your emotions, and your environment, that is the operating system of your phone. So I don't care how cool, fancy, new, or advanced the app is, it's only going to be as effective as your operating system. And that is like what I've been talking about a little bit today is just how you manage your energy, right? How you manage your emotions, how you manage your environment. Because I see so many people just struggling in their personal life and their professional life. And to me, if you have an opportunity or an obstacle facing you, right? It's a tough situation, good or bad, right? Because sometimes good opportunities can be stressful, right? Is if you understand that if you can just take a step back and cycle through those 3 E's and figure out what you have control over, what you don't, what resources you have, all that kind of stuff, that gives you this sense of control, and this gives you this power, right? So it gives you this clarity. And if you keep doing that, you can walk into any room ready to go. You don't have to know what's on the other side of that door. You show up and you're ready to go, right? You turn pressure into like a fuel for yourself versus something that you worry about, you fight against, you resist. Because that's what most people are doing, right? They're trying to find a way to, avoid the pressure, fight the pressure. It's like, well, no, pressure is fuel if you have the right operating system, right? And so if people could just understand that, it's driving me crazy because it really works. Like I want my kids, the people I work with, everyone I know is just like, I want you to walk. I want to say, there's a door right there. Walk through it. And I'm not going to tell you what's on the other side, but you have to show up. And I mean, show up. And they're going to go, let's go. They'll be through the door before I finish my sentence. And that's what the pressure code will give you, is literally that power, that control of anything that you have to do and how to sustain it.
I can't wait to have producer Mike read it 1 paragraph at a time.
Oh yeah.
Just
maybe I'll get to 20 pages a day.
Just start.
Hey, Andy, we'll start with 1 sentence at a time.
1 sentence at a time.
Just be sure.
Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. Hey, listen, I can't wait to read it when it comes out. Hopefully, maybe you can sneak me one before it comes out. But the pressurecode.com. Listen, this has been I've learned a lot. This is fantastic. Congrats to Aryna. Congrats to you for your success in helping with her success. It's been fun to watch. You guys are a real injection of life into the tennis tour. We're always happy for her successes, therefore your successes. Good to come on absolutely anytime and drop these knowledge bombs on us. Jason, good luck with the rest of the training block in Miami, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Hey, man. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Let's
Thanks
go.
for coming on, Serb. And that has been Q&Andy. We'll see you next week. Actually, where the hell can they send questions?
Yeah, if you
Did I
want to be
miss that?
featured on the show, send your questions to askandy@surfpodcast.com. Hit us up in our DMs on socials or drop it in the comments here.
And I like announcing if we have someone cool like Jason coming on for the next week. I don't think we have anything yet, so just we'll roll the dice. It might just be me. We'll see you next week.